sees the potential. His mission is to get you to stay there. When you make these kind of decisions, that's where the parting of the roads. And for parents that are here, to see your child come and make a decision like that is a huge, awesome, beautiful thing. Sets them apart. You've done a great job in raising a young leader who made their mind up against the stream, against the machine, against the noise. So this afternoon, I wanted to bring up certain elements of our team. And where's Jamie? Are you still around? You're here. So you'll help me on the name, on who's at which section. And we are doing sector first. So the sector guys come sit up top here. And I'd like us to, we're going to do like a bench discussion. My aim is that the audience here would understand the mechanics of some of our in football it would be like it's one of the plays, you know what I mean? It's like a play. Like this is the offensive team, and this is what happens when we move forward in an offensive maneuver, you know? And you'll understand the play. Oh, Rachel, yeah, good. So, Shane and Chelsea from Chipepo base. You can clap, you can clap. Missionaries. Missionaries. Jake Magnus, just greet them in Swahili, please.
Jina la Bwana libarikiwe jamani, nimefurahi kuwa pamoja nanyi jioni ya leo. Shana sio jioni.
He's like a Gatling gun. He's like hit with words. Brad and Kelly from Munilunga base. You can greet them in Lunda.
Mudingai mwani. Mwani, Zambia wamuwahi. Pinji Eshima. Hey.
he's already like his Mzungu's like, not even a Mzungu anymore. Amen. Shane and Chelsea, you guys, I want you to, like, just, you know, we dropped them off in a functioning base, straight out of AMT and fundraising. Of course, they weren't young kids. They weren't kids. I mean, you were like 28 or something at the time. And got into your assignment. Talk to me about some of the great moments about what you do. Then we'll talk about some of the tough moments that have evolved. Because as you know, I didn't tell you that there would be tough moments, but I'm sure there were some. So you give us some of the great moments of just living. And I'm not trying to sell anybody. I just want I want to smell the bread in the morning. You know what I mean? Like what happens in your Chipepo base?
Yeah, that's interesting because it's kind of hard to differentiate between the two, because usually the greatest moments come from the worst moments, it seems like, you know, when God turns them on their head and does something amazing through the difficult times. But it's the little things, you know, I think that are the most encouraging when you get to share the gospel with someone who hasn't heard it for the first time, or hasn't heard that there's a God that loves them and wants to know them personally. They may have heard of him, but they don't know who he actually is, and that he loves them intimately and created and designed them for a relationship with him. When you see that light come on in someone's eyes, that revelation come over them of the love of God, it is the biggest win, I think, that we experience every time. And you don't get tired of it. It's not something that's like, oh, yeah, we've seen that before. It's amazing and miraculous every single time. And we were just chatting with someone at lunch about how, you know, in ministry, you don't get to see the results in the physical right away. Sometimes it can seem like you're just plowing away, and you're like, what is going on? Is anything even happening? Are people even listening? Because it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it's hot and they got a stomach full of Shima and they're just like sitting there like that, and you're like, Are they even awake? I don't know, but I'm going to keep preaching because maybe there's spirits listening. And then suddenly you see like the fruit come when it's like they come to you and tell you like, you know, our child was sick and we didn't know what to do. Our family was saying, take him to the witch doctor. But we remembered, you know, hearing that, no, Jesus can heal him. Let's lay hands on the sick and pray. And they were healed. And you're like, where did that come from? I thought you were asleep during that, you know? And you get to see the true transformation that comes from within, not the behavioral modification that comes from without, but the transformation in people's lives from a renewed spirit and a renewed mind, and the full revelation of who God is in their life. And so for us, that's those things that are just keep you going, keep you moving. And even the little things like you come with big plans and you think you're going to do all these great things, build this thing, have this ministry going, and you realize today we have clean clothes. We got the laundry done. That was a win because we were interrupted, but we also, you know, got to build relationship all throughout the day. But your agenda, you learn to let that go, and then you see what you would have perceived as interruptions or problems as blessings and opportunities, and those are the wins. You know, God, we've talked about the transformation has to come to you first before you can bring transformation. And he's more interested in what he's doing in you, because what he does in you, he can do through you. And it's a lot of it is the breaking down. That's why I say the hardest times are actually what usually produce our greatest victories, because it's that breaking down of those selfish desires, those things that, you know, we always say, if you want to find out how selfish you are, get married. And then if you think you're done with your selfishness, have a kid. You realize you're even still really selfish. And then have two, yeah. But also go on the missions field, or come somewhere where you're available 24/7, like they were talking about earlier. And you are the person that people turn to, and you realize this selfishness has to die, and it has to die quickly, or I'm going to ring the bell and I'm going to get out of here. And so it's those little victories within yourself that you also celebrate, and you see what God's doing in you, and then you get passionate about that, and you bring it to other people, and you see them get passionate about it. So,
tell folks a little bit about Chipepo region, like the people, the ladies, the whole landscape.
I was going to say, before my husband had a mini sermon there, my favorite part, and I'm much more basic than he is, but I love just being in relationship with no time frame. And that's so true. I think it was Dr. Leon, I don't know, who said the way that we function is on relational time. And that is the Tonga people in Chipepo. They love relationship. You're going to spend at least 3 to 5 hours with whoever you're with. There's no like, I'm going to just drop in. That just isn't a thing. I'm sure that is true for most everyone that is not in America, honestly. But where we live is really hot and really hard. And so we tell people it's not for the faint of heart. It's not as beautiful as some places, but the people are so beautiful. And when we moved there, I told the Lord I didn't know that I wanted to be there. I don't know, Phil, if you know this, but he was like, well, I love those people, so it doesn't actually matter what you want. And I was like, okay, well, there we go. Rebuked. And so now we've been there almost 6 years, and we love these people. They are so kind. They're so inviting. They don't have anything to give except relationship and except time, which is the most valuable thing. Because that makes them so willing and open to what you have to share. And so my favorite part is sharing our base with people. We have green grass, and we've had people come in this destitute, hard to grow anything except maize sometimes area. And they come in and they say, your base looks like the Garden of Eden. This is what I imagine when I read Genesis, and I read about what the garden is, and this is it. So we're planting more grass right now. We're not there, but we have people on the ground doing that, and it's so fun to share the blessings that we have with people who have nothing. It is so much joy to give, and we are so blessed to be able to give the light of the world and even just share a cup of coffee. When I went there, the women, I had my first women's meeting, and a lot of the women had never even had coffee and had never drank out of like a ceramic or glass mug. And you could tell they just were like sitting there like chatting about it. And it just was like, there's such pleasure in sharing the most simple things that we just take for granted. And so it's really beautiful. The people are so beautiful.
You've had some babies out there, and you guys have done great. I don't want to go into that right now. I'm sure they want the other ladies to talk about it. But Shane, just back to you. So when they went out, they had no power. There's no grid power there. You had to learn solar and inverters and 220 power, not 110. Was that I'm thinking of someone sitting here, is that an exciting thing, or is that a burdensome thing? And
Yeah, it is a very exciting thing for me. I love learning new things and getting to figure stuff out. Of course, with the power, it's like you make a mistake, and on the best case scenario, you don't have power for a while. Worst case, you're electrocuted, and things are really bad.
Which obviously hasn't happened.
Yeah, it hasn't happened, yeah. But no, it was a really fun thing for me to get to learn. You know, when we were building our house, I did all the plumbing and the carpentry, and I had never done any of that before. I knew a little bit about it, but it's a lot of fun to get to learn and to do it. And again, to apply your hands. I loved the message from Jesse this morning about just working with your hands, because I can relate. I enjoy physically doing something with my hands, and you get to see progress. Sometimes it's failure, but you get to learn from that failure and correct it, and then figure it out and fix it. And the great thing about being on a team like this, you're not the first one to go and figure out solar and to figure out plumbing and to do all this. You have a lot of great resources. And so you have the ability to learn from others, learn from their mistakes. I mean, I'll be happy to tell you all of my mistakes when it comes to, at least when it comes to those things, and help you figure out what to do. So it's a lot of fun.
So their solar installation runs their air conditioning, their fridges, their washing machines, their entertainment, everything, lights. So it's pretty powerful, great, renewable energy, independent, off-grid solution at the mission base, which is necessary, but also super exciting. Magnus.